Good morning. I'd like to call this meeting to order. First off, I'd like to acknowledge Chair Pellegrini, who is online and joining the meeting. Uh, on behalf of the board, we acknowledge that York Region is located on the traditional territories of many Indigenous peoples, including the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Huron-Wendat, and Métis people, and the treaty territories of the Haudenosaunee, Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and Williams Treaty First Nation. Today, this area is home to many diverse Indigenous people, and we recognize their history, spirituality, culture, and stewardship of this land. We also acknowledge the Chippewas of Georgina Island First Nation as our closest First Nation community. May-Witch. With that, good morning, everyone. I would, before we begin our agenda, I'd like to take a few moments to acknowledge a very valued member of our board whose time has come to an end, but I think it's extremely appropriate that we acknowledge Mr. Walter Purcell. I have some prepared notes, but I also have some personal notes, which I'm sure all of you must appreciate. Walter has been a very valued member of the board for the past 6 years. Throughout his term, he has helped advance key priorities, including his work on the anti-Black racism and building community trust committees, as well as his involvement in the recruitment of 3 deputy chiefs. Walter brought a very unique background in international security, public safety, and emergency management, which strengthened his work on our board. He served with a strong commitment to public safety and supporting what he describes as one of the finest police services in Canada. Outside of his role on the board, Walter has been a distinguished career, including serving as a senior member in the Canadian Armed Forces and a long-standing faculty member at York University. I want to personally thank Walter for his work on the board, but also for his friendship, not only to myself, but to other members. But I also want to thank him for his ongoing service to our country. And I want to wish him all the very best in the future. I know that we do have some gifts, and it's sad that Walter is not with us today. His timing just didn't work. So I can see over my left shoulder here, Mackenzie has a beautiful plaque that we will send to him. And I know that looking across to Chief McSween, I believe you've got some YRP gifts. But before I go to you, Walter was my seatmate. He sat here. Now I have a new seatmate. But he brought a very interesting perspective. I always used to tease him how he was always on secret squirrel missions, and he'd never tell me what he was doing. But several months ago, he dropped a piece of shrapnel down in front of me on the table. I didn't even know what it was. And he said he just got back from Ukraine or somewhere overseas, and it was from a Russian, some type of missile. And I was like, okay, but you're not going to tell me what you do. No. So I want to thank him for his ongoing support, and he's definitely brought something that none of us could bring to this table. But before I go over to Chief McSween, I'm looking to my board members to see if anyone else would like to comment at this time with respect to Mr. Purcell. If not, I will go straight to the chief. Seeing none, Chief McSween.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning to everyone. Nice to see you all. Hopefully the nicer weather is coming. I did want to comment on Walter as well and his commitment and dedication to this police service, but more broadly to public safety. As you mentioned, Madam Chair, Walter brought a unique perspective to the board, and one that we valued at YRP as well, and had many conversations with him over many national security and just general municipal security issues. You know, he had paid a visit to our organization on a number of occasions, and we've had some really good information sharing back and forth with Walter. As you said, he is a unique individual with a unique perspective and brings a wealth of experience from both personal, professional lens, dedicated to his students, dedicated to this community. And we definitely wish Walter well. As you mentioned, we will be sharing some some gifts with him as well. And by all means, we will be more than happy to take the board plaque with us if that's what you choose. And we'll do that in person. Walter's a great person, and we wish him nothing but the best in the future. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Looking up, Chair Pellegrini, I see you have your hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to add it, I'd be remiss if I didn't give my thanks as well. Walter did bring an absolutely unique perspective, and he was always a joy and did participate very well in all board discussions and will be greatly missed. And as you said, he wasn't only a board member, he was also a friend, and he has offered to have us up for maybe a small drink and cigar one day at his place. So I'd be welcome to take the plaque if that's the best way to get it to him. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Chair Pellegrini. If there's no other comments, I'll just take a motion to receive. Moved by Member Bodenstein, seconded by Member Taylor. All in favor, opposed, motion carries. Thank you. All right, moving right along. Disclosure of interest. Any disclosure of interest from any member of committee today? Seeing none. All right, confirmation of the public minutes of the board meeting of February 18th. Is there any errors, omissions, or corrections? Seeing none, I will then have that moved by Member Fazel, seconded by Member Cortolucci. All in favor, opposed, motion carries. Presentations, we have none. Deputations, we have none. Okay, so moving right along, communications. Members, we do have a number of items on our public agenda. There's certain items that have been identified that we will call for discussion. They are as follows. 8.4, 9.1, 9.4, 9.9. Those are the items that will be called today. Is there any additional items that are required to be called by members of committee? I'm sorry, by members of the board. My apologies. I have old habits die hard. Looking down. No others? So then if I can get a motion for all other items that are not requiring separate discussion. Moved by Bodenstein, seconded by Taylor. All in favor, opposed, motion carries. All right, so going to the items we are going to call. Going to the first item on the agenda will be 8.4. It's a memorandum from Chief McSween with respect to Canada's top employer competition. Wonderful news. Chief McSween.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through you, as I'm sure you've all seen, this is the 7th year that YRP has made the shortlist. We have not made the cut yet on the top 100 employers nationally, at least the larger event. But for the 11th year in a row, we've been recognized as one of Greater Toronto's top employers for 2026, which is amazing news, not only for the organization, but for all of the folks, some of which are behind me, that played a significant role in the application process. It is a cumbersome process, but one well worthwhile. And in addition, for the 9th year in a row, another acknowledgement that York Regional Police has been successful as one of Canada's top 100 employers for young people. That is a national award. So we're very proud of that. Very proud of this organization, the fact that we continue to be both provincially, municipally, and nationally recognized for the work we do, and we couldn't do it without the amazing people within this organization. So I just wanted to bring that to the board with a verbal update. And with that, Madam Chair, I'll turn it back over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Questions, comments from members of the board? Seeing none, mover, seconder, moved by Fazel, seconded by Cortolucci. All in favor, opposed, motion carries. That's 8.4. The next item called for discussion will be 9.1. It's the financial reporting for the period ending December 31st, 2025. I believe I'm going straight to Mr. Channel on this.
Okay. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Good morning to the board. This report brings 2025 year-end interim financial results that show operating deficit this year of $22.8 million. We were 105% spent. From quarterly guidance that was provided regularly throughout this year, our year-end exceeded previous expectations. So our initial range was between $19 and $21 million overspent. We ended up at $22.8 million. The variance explanation can be found in a schedule of year-end variances found on page 251 of today's agenda package. I'll just explain the formats. This brings to you major components of variances to budget related to wages, net of recoveries, expenditures, and revenues. So the top section of that schedule, wage accounts were overspent by $23 million, which is effectively all of the deficit was wage related. The major drivers included bargaining impacts, salary and benefit costs of bargaining totaled $16.4 million. Of the YRP generated piece, overtime was overspent by $3 million. This is largely due to investigative project spendings, that which is discussed with the board on the September 24th meeting. Several of these large investigative projects continued into the fourth quarter. An additional item on the report shows joint job evaluation process, which is our process for reclassifying members within the uniform and civilian salary grid. Sorry, the civilian salary grid is the next highest cost driver with an overrun of $2.4 million. Expenditures were overspent by $2.2 million, but they were offset by revenues, which exceeded budget by $2.4 million. Contained within the expenditure line, I just wanted to mention fuel costs. Fuel costs were below budget last year. We benefit from York Region's fuel hedging program. The fuel hedging program requires us to make a contribution in those years where we're below budget on price. We will benefit from that in 2026 because right now we are running at the pump much higher than our budgeted costs, which would allow us to have an offset for those pressures in 2026. Capital and reserve spending were exactly running as we expected this year. I'm available to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Channel. Questions of Mr. Channel? Noting none. All right, thank you for that. Then if I could I'm going to go up, there he is. I'm going to go up to the chair. Chair Pellegrini, if you could move this item, and if a seconder by Bodenstein. If there's no other questions, all in favor, opposed, motion carries. Thank you for that, Mr. Channel. 9.4, 2023-2025 Business Plan Achievements Year 3. I'm going to Chief McSween. Chief McSween.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, I'm going to have Director Steve Pinto from our Strategic Services area give you a briefing on this. Wanted to bring this to the board just because it is the final year of our last business plan, which then moves us into the next strat plan. And with that, Steve, I'll turn it over to you.
Mr. Pinto.
Thank you, Chief. And through you, Madam Chair. 2025 marked the final year of our 3-year business plan. We developed the plan through community engagement with local residents, businesses, policing partners, and community-based organizations. Because engagement occurred during the COVID-19 restrictions. Oh,
no, you're
gargling. Oh, okay.
You're going to eat that mic in 2 seconds.
Because engagement occurred during COVID-19 restrictions, we hosted virtual town halls and used live social media engagement. We also consulted with our members through surveys, town halls, and targeted focus groups led by our executive leadership team. We grounded the plan in evidence and best practices, including our environmental scan, resources from the Canadian Centre for Diversity and Inclusion, and our internal support networks and community working groups. Over the last 3 years, our achievements focused on aligning activities with regional crime initiatives and strengthening cross-functional coordination. This improved how we use data from district initiatives through to actionable intelligence products for investigative units. We delivered timely, relevant training for our members and the community, including driver training, cybersecurity awareness, and support to policing partners on overdose and death investigations. We strengthened youth engagement through sports, literacy, and arts-based initiatives. We advocated for legislative and policy support to improve public safety, including addressing auto theft and other community priorities. A few initiatives that were identified in the 2023 to 2025 business plan will be carried over to the next strategic plan and are either currently being completed or are ongoing or phased in as more resources are introduced. For example, the body-worn camera program and the impact assessment on investigative workload are currently near completion, and the expansion of the community ambassador program will be completed within the next strategic plan cycle as more resources are added. And the business continuity program is established and ongoing beyond the next strategic plan cycle. With the conclusion of this business plan, we are moving to the 4-year planning cycle, developing a strategic plan as set out by the Community Safety and Policing Act. We look forward to a meeting with the board and the executive leadership team to work together on developing priorities and establishing a framework to chart the course for the next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pinto. Questions of Mr. Pinto? Seeing none, then I will take a mover and a seconder. Moved by Fazel, seconded by Taylor. All in favor, opposed, motion carries. 9.9 members of the board, I'd like to refer this into a closed session. So if I could get a mover and a seconder to refer this into closed session, Fazel, Cortolucci, all in favor, opposed, carried. Thank you. Now, unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business? Don't see any. Under other business, the strategic planning workshop, we are going to reschedule that. I'm wondering if it would be possible. I know that looking to Jacqueline, I believe, do we have any dates or do we have any suggestions on that? Or do we want to hold tight on that until I don't want to have this until our new member is sworn and ready to go. And I'm not quite sure when that's going to happen. So I think if we look at May, that should be safe enough for us.
Yep, so I received dates from Staff Super Dawson, and we're looking at potentially Monday, May 11th, Friday, May 15th, or Tuesday, May 19th.
May 15th won't work. I have
Okay.
TRCA, so. The 11th?
The Monday, May 11th, or Tuesday.
Does everyone have their calendars available?
On the 11th?
On a Monday?
Okay.
Oh, you're all Mondays, are you? Okay.
Tuesday, May 19th.
Tuesday, May 19th, that works for me.
Yeah.
Latif, are you in town? Muriel?
Steve, does that work for you?
Chair Pellegrini? Oh, big thumbs up, yes. Awesome, we like that. How about two thumbs up? It'd even be better than one. All right, so then we'll I'm going to take a motion to make it Tuesday, May 19th, moved by Bodenstein, who's nodding the best, and seconded by Fazel, who seems extremely happy with that date. With that, all in favor, opposed, motion carries. Okay, terrific. Upcoming events, members of the board, we just have a list here of the upcoming events. Thank you to staff for putting this together. And we don't need any motions with respect to that. We have added the chief's retirement party on June 25th. And I think everything else has stayed the same from the last meeting. With that, I'm going to take a motion to recess as we go into private session. Moved by Cortolucci, seconded by Fazel. Let's go that way. All in favor, opposed, motion carries. So we are now